Hello, wrestling fans, and welcome to 10 Count. I'm Steve Fall, but on today's edition, I am talking to the greatest women's wrestler of all time. That's right, it's Mickie James. How are you doing today?
I'm so good. Thanks, Steve.
It's a
Steve
pleasure having you
Ball.
here. Oh, I love it. You're saying my name out loud, Mickie James. I'll
That's
say it.
how I feel like that's how it should be said.
Oh, I'm a full name person. No one ever calls me Steve. No one calls me Mr. Fall. I've always been a full name person my entire life. Don't know why, but here we are still to this day, in my 30s, still a full name man. But we're not talking about me. We're talking about you.
I'm also a full name human.
Everyone always
Every
calls you Mickie James.
everyone for the most part, very few. I mean, Nick obviously calls me Mickey, and Donovan calls me Mom or Mummy. But other than that, I'm Mickie James to everybody. Like, there's no just Mickey. Even my like dear friends, except for my like close friends, they'll call me MJ or something. But
Right.
that's still like the initials of both my names.
This is very true. I've adopted the Daddy-O because I got three kids. You know, my wife doesn't even call me by my name. It's hey Daddy-O, hey Daddy-O, and you're like, oh, I don't have a name anymore. I've just become.
That's what happens when you become a parent. Yeah.
I
Nick
know.
also calls me Mummy. Yeah, which is
Right.
weird. It gets awkward.
It can be.
It's
It
like,
can
wait, hold
be.
on.
Yeah. Excuse me. Let me give you a kiss, Mummy. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. It's getting awkward. But at Hard to Kill, January 13th in Atlanta, Georgia, you are taking on Jordan Grace, career versus championship belt. Now, this is a huge opportunity for you, but at the same time, this could all end terribly for you. And I'm not saying you're going to lose, but there's a slim chance, 50-50, that could happen. Now, what's going through your mind right now? Because we're gearing up this event and, suddenly thoughts must be building up.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot on the line. The stakes are high. The reality is I know what I'm going into for this match because Jordan has been a remarkable champion. She's been an incredible, very impressive champion. I've been going back and watching pretty much all of her matches leading up to, because as I was on this last rodeo, kind of trying to prove my way that I still belong on the roster, and working my way up the roster. I've watched her hold on to that championship and very strongly.
Yeah.
And I know it means a lot to her to keep that championship, and I'm sure it would be a good notch in her belt if she was the one to retire me. But I can tell you, obviously I don't want to retire. I love this business so much, and I've dedicated a long time to it, and I still have so much passion and love for it. But if this is the way it had to end, I would not be sad. I mean, I would be sad for the sense that I would never be able to like lace up a pair of boots again. But my career has been amazing, and it has been more than I ever expected. Or anticipated. It was everything that I prayed for, but at the same time, you don't think that you can accomplish all these things. And I think what I've been able to do in the business, even in those times when I thought that the whole world had fell out from underneath my feet, and still to be able to persevere and kind of push through um, it's been amazing. And I really thought to myself, like, what else do I have to prove in the business? Because we always feel like we have some more to prove. Like, we have to, even in this, like, I had to prove that I still belonged in this locker room, in this new era of women's wrestling, where, the expectations are even higher than they ever were before. But yeah, I have to go back and I go like, yeah, but it was because women like myself, but not even just myself, but women like Lita and Trish and China and Ivory and Jacqueline, like these women who were fighting for 3 minutes, 5 minutes of time and going out there and killing it and constantly raising the bar and raising the expectations for women in the industry that we've gotten to even now, like with the Beth Phoenixes of the world and Michelle McCool's and all these people who have kind of gotten us to this point to where now women are getting these marquee moments, these main event matches, these WrestleMania headlines, like all these things that are now happening and the women are thriving off of. And I'm like, it sucks that we have to leave the business right when the fruit is being served of all this hard work that we did, and so I'm really grateful that I can still be in the locker room. This new group of women and this group of knockouts, especially that I'm in the locker room with now. I mean, everybody's on team knockout, right? Like everybody wants the knockouts to win.
Yeah.
And it's just awesome. It's awesome to see how far we've come. And so no matter what happens, I feel like I'm not going to say the fans are the winners because I know that's a big everybody loves to say that. But it really is. It's like it's going to be an amazing match. I know that both of us are going to put up the fight of our lives, and neither one of us want to lose. And that's the reality. So it's really hard for a fan to sit there and pick a winner because the fans love Jordan, and they respect her as a champion. And they don't want her to beat me, but they still want her to be champion too. So it's a real everybody's kind of torn, except for, my obviously hardcore fans, they want me to win. And there can't be two winners though. So that's kind of where we're at. And I'm excited. I'm excited that the show is sold out. That's going to make for a good environment, electric environment, and going out there. And so, yeah, it means a lot to me. I'm excited.
Well, I can't wait because, again, you say, people want Jordan to win. I'm sorry, championships versus careers. I'm going with career. I want you to keep going forward. But the last rodeo, this entire process, what inspired this? Because it feels like a few years ago, there was this weird conversation popping up about ageism. Somehow it was pushed on women versus being pushed on men. Was the last rodeo really a kind of like put your foot down and tell everyone to shut up? Because it doesn't matter how old or young you are, we can all still produce in the ring.
Right. Well, I think I've been, very vocal about my feelings towards that, because especially when you look at it in women versus men, and I hate to separate us in that way, but sometimes you really have to look at like the inequalities sometimes along the way, or just even on how it's viewed of, there will be male champions who are well in their 50s and nobody blinks an eye and nobody says anything, as they shouldn't, because their career speaks for themselves. Their work speaks. Like, I would never take that away. I think that they deserve, if you are a badass and you can go out there and make those people react and care about what you're doing out there, it doesn't matter what your age is. And you always hear that, oh, age is nothing but a number, and you're only as old as you feel, or you're only as old as you act in some cases. But for women, and this is just a cultural thing, and I don't know if it's just in wrestling or if it's just something that's been bred in us since the dawn of existence. Like, a woman's role was always a shorter role on television, but just like think about in life, like women have always been told like, oh, you have the babies and you're at home, and the husband goes out and makes the money, and then you keep the house in order. And a woman's job in the household is very, very important. And I never take away from that, because they keep the ship going, right? Like they keep that ship driving straight forward. And no offense, Steve, but men sometimes can get like, so they need to be wrangled in.
My wife
need to be like
has got the lasso.
Yeah, they need to be streamlined, right? And that's a wonderful thing. And I think that's the balance of a lot of relationships. But on television, even when I first debuted, it would be like, okay, well, most women at that time, and still even today, would have a 5-7 year run on television tops. And then it was next chapter. It was making babies, next career moves. And it was very rare that a woman would stay in the wrestling business, stay doing things behind the scenes. Now we're seeing doors like that open more. Like Gail Kim is the head of the Knockouts. Beth Phoenix transitioned and started doing more stuff on commentary, but also helping mold the talent at NXT.
Yeah,
Maria heading up, Ring of Honor's women's division. And even when I got to do Empower for NWA and with NWA, like those were all really like monumental movements, because it shows that there's so many women now that's just like when I came in, there weren't a lot of women leaders. There weren't, because they had already been phased out. They had already been next chaptered. Right. So there weren't a lot of women to learn from. I learned from mostly men, and I'm very grateful for that, because I learned a lot, obviously, from them. But now that there's so many women, and women who have made history and done remarkable things in the business there for this new generation to truly learn how to make money as a female in this business, because it is different. It's really, really cool. And so I just think that there's more opportunities available for women, and a lot of companies are seeing that and opening up those doors. But, a lot of people just didn't, it was 7 years on TV and then that was it. And I just didn't want, I love wrestling. I'm like, at that point, you've dedicated your whole adult life to chasing this dream. And it was frustrating to me that it was such a short-lived dream, and then you're forced to think about something else when you don't love anything else like you love this. And they all tell you, like, you should do what you love till the day you die. Like, if you're doing what you love, then it's not work. And so yeah, so I've tried to stay in wrestling and stay relevant, but at the same time, this last rodeo was really a test to myself, because you hear it and you see it. Social media especially can be extremely toxic. I think it can be wonderful, but it can also be extremely toxic. And if you have a weak view of yourself, or a weak ego in that sense, to where you can allow yourself to be vulnerable, which we all do at times, to those comments sometimes. And I would see, like, oh, it's time for Mickie to pass the torch and let this new generation shine. Or, don't get me wrong, I get a lot of love. I don't mean that. But it's funny how you'll get 20 nothing but love comments, right? But that one negative comment will stick with you, and it'll stick at you. And it's not because they're saying anything you haven't heard before, but it's because they're saying something that in your mind and in your heart, it's an insecurity, right? So then it ticks you. It kind of goes like, oh. So then you see and you hear these things, and I'm like, okay, but I can still go. I can still go with the best of them, and I can still be a household name. And Mickie, I'm a legend, and I'm only, 43 years old this year. So, most men are just kicking their strides in their 40. Most men are just becoming champions sometimes for the first time in their 40s. Right. Like, there's why is it so different? But at the same time, I go, well, I have been on television as a television superstar since 2005. So that's a long time for a woman. And I just wanted to be able to prove to myself, it wasn't even about proving it to the fans, but prove to myself that I can still go in this, new locker room, and with these women that, people want me to step aside for. And I do believe in torch passing, but I also believe in the fact that there needs to be somebody able to step up and take the torch.
Yes, and I think at Hard to Kill, January 13th, you're going to just take back your torch. You're going to take it back, hold it above your head. But last year, Impact Wrestling was this huge movement, because suddenly we had something that never happened before. Impact Wrestling was represented in the Royal Rumble, and that was you. And then recently, Charlotte Flair said one of the mountains she wants to climb is you. She wants to wrestle you. I think
I saw that
after you win your championship back at Hard to Kill on January 13th against Jordynne Grace in Atlanta, Georgia, bring your belt to Royal Rumble, take Charlotte Flair's SmackDown belt, win that, and bring it back to Impact Wrestling. I think that's what we need in this world. People talk about forbidden doors all day long, but let's talk about the Mickie James door, because you're kicking it down, taking Charlotte Flair's belt. Could we see this?
I guess, last year, I would have told you absolutely not. We can't see that. But this year I go, well, anything is possible, right? Like, it took a lot of magic to make that Royal Rumble happen. And the fact that it was so special. Man, I still get chill bumps every time I watch that entrance, and I'm fighting with my jacket because it got stuck, and I forgot to turn around to show the back because it was so awesome.
And you had the belt too, and they said Impact Wrestling. That's what was great.
And it was multi-layered of reactions. It was like oh my God, it's hardcore country. Oh my God, it's Mickie James. Right. Oh my God, she's got the belt. And then when I held it up, it was like multi-layered reactions. And I just go like, God, it was so perfect. It was so amazing. And it would be hard to recreate. It would be hard to top in that sense. The only way to top it would be to win the Royal Rumble and then maybe go on and challenge Charlotte Flair, title versus title, whatever the case may be. I'm really honored that she would say that. I've obviously said a lot of times at one of the only people that I never really got to, aside from in the Rumble, stand across the ring from, was Charlotte Flair. My whole time there, we were always, I got moved to Raw, she went to SmackDown,
Mm.
you know, and I was aligned with Alexa a lot. And the thing is, I didn't have a lot of singles actually stories or a single run really at all at WWE when I was there, because I was partnered with Alexa and I had a blast. So fun. Still had WrestleMania moments, and you know, her versus Nia, and I was out there and different things. But I still, I guess, hungered and wanted that one final Mickie James WWE moment on WWE television, you know, and I always wanted to be able to present hardcore country to the WWE audience because it was something that they had never seen. And I thought that it was something that, you know, it got over huge when we first did it in TNA at the time, Impact Wrestling. And the fans really got behind it. It really resonated with a lot of people, especially middle America, you know, like there's a lot of us that are just down home, good people that have strong family ties and strong family roots, regardless of color or gender or ethnicity or any of that. We are all, you know, we all had to work really hard to get what we want. And so we appreciate that. And it felt like it was a representation of that. And plus Mickie James hardcore country is a badass. And it was just like, I really wanted to show her to the WWE audience and I never had the opportunity. And then unfolded this Royal Rumble opportunity where I literally got to do it all in one moment. And it was so special. And I still like get emotional about it. And it was so special. And it was just, I'm still grateful for that. And it opened up doors for like a Cody Rhodes to come back, which people didn't expect, and to be the American Nightmare. Like there's different things. And now the opportunities of what could happen at this year's Royal Rumble or moving forward onto wrestling, the options are endless because now you know that that door has been opened, you know, for other talent and for cross promotion kind of stuff. And that's really exciting. And it's exciting for wrestling fans. And, you know, to be the one to kind of kick that door open and to do it as a woman, and to showcase the Impact Knockouts World Championship on WWE television and have that put over and go in as the champion, you know, there were a lot of boxes that people go like, oh, they're never going to happen. I mean, I think most people thought like, oh, she's going to come out to her Mickie James music. She's going to wear the bell bottoms and, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
And none of that. It happened just the way I prayed about it. And we all hoped, and it came off, and it like got the reaction. And my biggest fear was that I was going to go out there and it was going to be crickets and nobody was going to know who hardcore country was. And it was going to be, that was like in my heart. I'm like, I'm not saying a word until this thing is over, because I am not jinxing myself. Because what if I go out there, they go hardcore country and it's beep, 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 beep.
No,
It would never, I know it wouldn't happen, but at the same time, like these are the things that flood into your brain and to your mind, you know?
Of course. But all I have to say is that I'm so excited for Hard to Kill on January 13th, Atlanta, Georgia. It's a huge event. You have so many matches. The entire pay-per-view is stacked. You know, we're talking about your career in Jordan Grace, but at the same time, we got Bully Ray, Josh Alexander. There's so many matches on the card. I'm pumped. You're pumped. You're all pumped. But I got to say, time restraints, we gotta go. But I have to say right now, I have checked off Mickie James from my bucket list of interviews. The unicorn has been chased. I caught you. I got it. So I just want to say thank you so much, Mickie James, full name, for being here on 10 Count. I've been Steve Fall, full name. Have a great day, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.